let's just reflect a little bit on Novak Djokovic, the Australian Open, his career, the world, other people. What's the right thing here? Is it to vilify Djokovic for being unvaccinated, not wanting to get vaccinated? We know he's already had COVID. There's almost no evidence that vaccines have any value once you've already had COVID. There's tremendous pressure around the world to get everybody vaccinated, even though, countries like South Africa have, huge unvaccinated rates. It seems like 30% or more of our country has no interest in doing it. And the more you pressure people and try to force them, the less likely they are to compel, right? People in general don't want to be forced. Should we be vilifying Novak, right? Now, did he make some mistakes? Yeah, it sounds like he might have, been exposed and potentially exposed other people. And, that's problematic, but that was in the past. And he's also one of the most conditioned athletes in the entire world. So his likelihood of like hurting others in some way, infecting others or any of that stuff at this point is close to zero, right? And yet, so many people want to vilify the unvaxxed. It's bad form from my perspective. It's bad policy, right? It's like, shouldn't people be free to choose? Are they really, being selfish? Or is it that they're honoring themselves? This is one of the tricks in life, right? Because a lot of times we get manipulated by others, right? Into this sense that, we're being selfish by doing what feels right for us. Now, some people would say, well, these are the rules, and, Australia's got all these rules, and, these are one of the, Australia and Austria, maybe Germany coming up, these are some of these countries that have been really, really harsh on the unvaccinated. Now, France is talking about, the prime minister there, Macron or whatever, is talking about, basically making the unvaccinated miserable. They've more or less done that in Australia, and they've done that in Austria, and to a great extent in the United States, we've been vilifying the unvaxxed. I'm vaccinated, but under no circumstances am I making other people wrong for having the right to choose. I think it's almost hypocritical, right? I see so many people that, they want the women to have the choice around their bodies, around, getting an abortion, and yet they want to force people to get vaccinated. Well, which is it, right? So my invitation is, if you want to protect yourself, terrific, get the vaccine, get the boosters, do whatever you need to do. But let's not make other people so wrong, right? Because they want to honor themselves. If we call them selfish, a lot of times we're manipulating, right? It's manipulative to call someone selfish when they're not doing what you want. And some people, everybody has fear somewhere, even a Marine will have fear somewhere, right? Maybe it's being tortured, I don't know, the tougher you are, maybe it's more, it's things that are, different than it would be for a regular person. But a lot of people have germ fears and health fears, right? It's pretty common. And so there's this sort of mass hysteria that's occurred on and off over the past 2 years around the virus and stuff. And now we're finding out stuff we've known all along, stuff I've said all along. Many of the so-called COVID deaths are not directly related to COVID, right? The vaccines aren't nearly as effective as they were purported to be. With Omicron, people are finding out that it spreads rather easily. We're finding out that masks, which we've known, there's been studies that, are just not talked about, these cotton masks or cloth masks have almost no value, and maybe surgical masks have 10% value. Clearly N95s have a lot of value, but that's not really pervasive in our culture. Social distancing, it's a great concept, but indoors with poor ventilation, it has almost no value because these, virus particles are so tiny, they're just going through the air. And we've done very little talking about immune systems and health and exercise and vitamins and, and great relationships and things that make us happy and things that support our immune system, right? And a guy like Djokovic is one of those guys that's in tip-top shape, right? And, now that he's been already exposed and on the other side of that, he's not harming anybody. Clearly he wants to play. He's good at this tournament in particular. He's one of the best ever. If he wins, it'll be the 21st major championship. He's a determined guy. He's definitely made mistakes. I've never been a huge Novak fan, but I am a fan of freedom, and I am a fan of kindness and decency and not vilifying others because they're not doing what you want. And when people are scared, they often go for control. And so some of these governments are really not even convinced they're that scared. They just have gone for control. And I think it's a sad commentary that so many people have been so willing to sort of give up their freedoms when they're scared. And in history, we've seen this, many, many times. And it's had harmful effects. So from my perspective, let's stop vilifying Novak Djokovic and frankly anybody that's not vaccinated. Protect yourself if you need to. But again, let's just consider the possibility of building our immune system so we feel safer and healthier the rest of our lives. Hey, I'm Dr. Brett. Okay, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content. Hey, I'm Dr. Brett.